Well, hello, welcome to this Musical Talk mini. My name's Nick Hudson. Hope you're enjoying the first part of the Edinburgh Fringe coverage. Lots more of that to come, but I'm here with my friend Leigh, who we're going to talk very quickly, because last night he went to see... Well, tell us what you went to see, Leigh.
I went to see the Broadway Proms, 59. Not 59 proms, just the one, but it felt like 59.
Number 59.
Number 59.
And it was called the Broadway Sound. And very exciting for me because, an actor we both like is making his second appearance at the Proms, Mr. Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane.
Yay!
A wonderful singer, and it was sort of an evening celebrating the best of that old-fashioned MGM Broadway sound, wasn't it?
The sound was fantastic. The orchestrations have been, if you like, reinvented, but for I think it was something in the region of about 37 to 39 piece orchestra.
And we have to say it's the John Wilson Orchestra, the very famous now John Wilson, this kind of guy who has discovered all his old orchestrations, hasn't he? And he sort of revived them from the dead.
Yeah, the MGM collection, really. He did, in fact, this season, the My Fair Lady. Last year, I think it was Singing in the Rain, which was the entire score, considering the whole thing was actually destroyed in a studio fire, and somebody painstakingly just listened to the whole thing, I think from an old recording or on film, and literally hand wrote every note for each instrument, which was just stunning. But last night was a real tribute, and it sounded, I think when you listen to it on the radio or see it on the television next Saturday, I think you'll actually appreciate how well they've done in kind of bringing these musicians together and just that classic sound to the point actually where even the artists had to sound a little bit like the original people singing those songs. So Seth sounded a little bit like Frank Sinatra.
Oh, really?
Anna Jane Casey sounded a little bit like Barbara.
We have Seth MacFarlane, as we mentioned. We also have Sierra Boggess, Anna Jane Casey, Rodney Earl Clark, Elizabeth Lewin, and Julian Ovenden, and of course the John Wilson Orchestra, and some choirs as well. Music of Jerry Herman, for example, Frank Lesser, Lowe, Bernstein, Gershwin, Jerry Bock, Richard Rodgers, Meredith Wilson, Kern, Porter Gershwin. All these kind of synonymous names with classic Broadway. Any standout moments for you, Leigh?
Well, Seth, obviously, the minute he came on, just got an absolute... The people who weren't actually already standing in front actually stood up. So yes, his first number was received joyously. He did Little Tim Box from Fiorello.
Don't know that one.
That's actually a new one. In fact, it was a weird programme, because there was a lot of things there which... the programme note said that John Wilson went back to his old MGM collection and looked through them to see what he could choose, and he came up with a kind of 49-page list or a 2.5 kind of day set.
Sounds like he needs to get a life. Really.
He does a bit, yeah. But and then he obviously sort of whittled that down. But there were some kind of classics there for everyone, and then some kind of slightly unknown.
Well, for example, I'm just looking at the list now. We have Guys and Dolls by Frank Lesser, and they have the song "Sue Me."
Yes,
you'd expect
maybe Adelaide's Lament or something.
Or Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting. They're kind of going for example, there's South Pacific. They don't do Some Enchanted Evening.
No, it's Younger Than Springtime, but. I think it's more that they were going for the actual arrangements rather than the
pleasing the theatre queens.
Yeah. Well, partly that. I think the lushness of the score. You can literally see the strings swaying in their seats. They were obviously having a great time, and the songs they chose suited the entire orchestra. I think there could have been moments where it could have kind of gone down to literally scoring for piano. There were a few moments there which were Gershwin-esque. You had Slaughter on 10th Avenue, and that's a very Gershwin piece of music. An
instrumental piece of music.
An instrumental. And then they had another ballet from On the Town. And you could... But I was actually with somebody who works at the Albert Hall, and we were looking at each other because we didn't have a programme, sort of guessing what some of these numbers were. But you can actually tell that, there's signature moments in a Rodgers and Hammerstein tune, and there are signature moments in the Bernstein. And you could just say that is that composer, that's how strong the music of that period was. And I think that's the joy of it. I think that was what, regardless of if you actually knew it or not, it was just a bit of fun, really, just saying that belongs to that period, and that's who wrote it.
So if you're a fan of old classic, tunes by Gershwin and Porter and Kern and Wilson and Richard Adler, the sort of not well-known name that did the Pajama Game, but still a brilliant musical. You can listen to and watch, I believe, the BBC Prom with the John Wilson Orchestra on Saturday night. So we'll put a link about it on Twitter. But Leigh, thank you very much for chatting to us about that.
You're very welcome, and look forward to the next one.
Yes, ta.